hello everyone. Welcome again to Leaders Uncut. So wonderful to have you with us today. And today it is my great pleasure to have somebody that I really think is extraordinary. His name is Harshil Ahuja. Harshil, I might just butchering your name here anyway. You can present yourself. But Harshil is the founder and CEO of Novarus Technologies. And he's doing something that is so critical nowadays and it's been critical for a long time, giving access to life's basic necessities. So I'm going to hand it over, Harshil, if you can give us a little bit of a background on yourself, why you started Novarus Technologies, where you're at in your journey of entrepreneurship. That would be great to start there.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me, Catherine. It's a pleasure to be here. So, yeah, my name's Harshil. I'm the founder and CEO of Novarus. We are a technology company that specializes in consumer tech and infrastructure development, primarily for people in underserved communities. So, as you know, there's a lot of people in the world who don't have access to things like clean air, clean drinking water, electricity. We create affordable and long-term solutions to help people like that. So, we create technologies like wearable air purifiers, portable water filtration systems. We're working with governments on desalination, renewable energy, things of that nature. So I formally started it in April of 2023, but I have been working on this for about 6 years now. Back in 2019 was when I created the first product prototype. I started it actually because I had taken a trip to India, and one of my aunts who lives there, she's an asthma patient. And during certain times of the year, the air quality in India gets really poor to the point where people like her can't even go outside because it aggravates their condition so much. And I was thinking to myself, why should anyone have to live through that kind of thing, right? Like you and I can breathe clean air every time we go outside, but so many people can't. So, kind of the inciting incident for the whole journey was that trip. And then I was able to create like a version of our air purifier and then spent like 4 years taking it through the whole development and manufacturing process, getting it certified, everything like that. So, it's been a long, long journey. I'm only 19. I'm in college right now, so I still have a lot to learn. And, hopefully I can help a few people along the way.
Oh my God, I mean, just that in itself, when you told me that you were only 19, that you have done already all of this in your life, it's amazing. So congratulations, because it does take someone
Thank
very
you.
special in order to just decide to do something at such a young age, and triggered by your aunt who was suffering, and you said, I'm going to solve it myself. I'm not going to wait for somebody to solve it. So that's
Mhm.
incredible. So I mean, such an example. So you have some flagship products. You have AirSense, Waterscape, and really they
Mhm.
embody your mission of clean air, clean water for everyone. So can you talk
Correct.
about the
Yeah.
biggest challenges that you had in designing solutions to really balance effectiveness, ethical production, and also affordability?
Yeah, that's a really great question. I think the first most difficult part of it was just learning how do you design a product for a customer, right? Because, when you have an idea for anything, you have so many different things running through your head about, oh, I can do this, 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 and this. I think the hardest part was, keeping things as simple as possible because there were so many times where I was like, oh, I should add this in and I should add this in and add this in. And then I very quickly realized one, it's not feasible at all, but it also makes everything a lot more complicated. So I think just the fact that we're like a hardware company and we have to take things through like a design process, a research process, and then an actual manufacturing process makes it a lot more complicated than maybe like a software company or something like that, just
Yeah,
because we have so many more moving parts. And I
right.
think honestly, one of the hardest parts was just learning how to take a product end to end that way, because I had never done it before and nobody in my family had done it before either. So I
Yeah,
had to learn a lot on my own. Um, Honestly, designing the product was the easiest part of it. Learning how to manufacture it and sell it was probably the hardest part
yeah.
because I have an engineering background, and having to learn marketing and sales was not my favorite thing in the world to do. I really don't like doing it sometimes, but you got to do it if you want to keep
Yeah.
going.
Yeah. You have, yeah, you're right. You have no choice. I mean, you have to be able to tackle just about everything, especially at the beginning, because I mean, unless you have millions of dollars in your pocket, right? You have to be able to do just about everything as an entrepreneur. Yeah, so you
Mhm.
also have a buy one, give one program that is really a powerful
Yes.
statement of purpose. Can you talk about this? How have you had any early outcomes of that, and particularly in communities like the Philippines, where you
Mhm.
have worked to validate the model, right?
Yes. So the buy one, give one program was a more recent thing we instated back in 2024. In 2024, I had the chance to go to quite a few different places and work with different organizations on implementing our water filters into local communities there that had some level of government support, but clean water still wasn't a very easy thing for them to get. They
Yeah.
had access to groundwater, but it was quite heavily contaminated. So when we were working with these organizations, one of the biggest things that like I like doing is the social aspect of what we do, going to these different places and installing them. But we realized that when you work with an organization like a nonprofit, you can't really expect them to shell out the same kind of money that a corporation can, those kind of things. And obviously you can't expect that from them either, right? Because they exist to fulfill a cause for some people. So, we decided that instead of just trying to like consistently sell to these nonprofits, we would implement this buy one, give one program in which when people like you and me purchase a product from our website, we'll actually allocate one product to be set aside to be given to a nonprofit as well. So say if a nonprofit chooses to start a project with 100 filters, they would actually receive 200 filters from us because we've allocated, all these additional filters that we can now give to them for free. And
Mm.
we've been able to help a lot of people with that. And over 10,000 different families all across the world have been able to use our water filters with
Wow,
this initiative. So
that's
it's been quite
amazing.
successful so far.
That must feel so good, right? When
It
you
does.
see results like that. I mean, now you really
Mhm.
understand what you're doing. The impact of what you're doing is gigantic.
I hope so, you know?
Yeah, but that is true. So obviously, with your product, safety is huge. I mean, you have to be able to prove people to everyone that your products are
Mhm.
safe to use, and you emphasize everywhere that they are scientifically tested by SGS laboratories. That's
Yes.
ethically prod. Can you talk about this quickly?
Sure. So with any kind of, product that you're saying is filtering something or cleaning something,
Yeah,
making it safe to use, obviously you want to show that it actually does that and you're not just saying that.
yeah,
So there's a couple of different ways to do that for both mass and water filters. If you're familiar with like what an N95 is, like that type of mask, the way that name actually comes up, it's not just an arbitrary name that's given. What it means is that that mask has been certified to remove 95% of particulates that are 2.5 microns smaller. So 2.5 microns and smaller is a size that can easily enter your respiratory system and latch onto your lungs and cause lots of issues long term. For reference, a human hair is about 60 microns wide. So 2.5 microns is actually invisible to the naked eye. And that's why people don't actually realize when they're inhaling it that all those other things are coming in
wow,
with it as well. So in order to get it certified, there's different laboratories that can do different types of testing. The National Science Foundation in the US has a couple of approved laboratories that can do testing for these types of products. SGS Labs is the most reputable in the world, not just in the United States. So we have received certifications from them for particulates, gases for our mass, and then particulates, chemicals, bacteria for our water filter as well.
that's
So all
great.
of our products have been extensively tested. And then the ethical practices that you were asking about. So we do a lot of our manufacturing overseas, but we're actually bringing a lot of it here to the US now. And one of the big things that we want to do is we want to actually work with some different veteran organizations because, homelessness in veterans has been a big problem over
Yeah,
the last 10, 20 years here in the US. So we've been looking to see if there's a way that we can set up an operational facility that employs, homeless veterans or different people who are in need of jobs, so rather than just outsourcing it to some big company that can, yeah, do it for us, we're like, might as well also help those who
oh
are
my
having a hard
goodness.
time getting jobs.
Are you sure you're 19, Harshil? I don't believe you. Because
Well, last time I
you must be
checked,
high.
yeah.
Well, I mean, the level of maturity, and I mean, you're thinking of everything, and you're so poised, and the way you explain everything is just so controlled. And I am in awe. Again, I am in awe. So you obviously you are known as the high school inventor, right? As reported in local media, right? So you say you don't like marketing, but I think you are also a marketing genius. So can you tell us about how Novarus has grown from those initial prototypes that you just talked about and its safety and the quality of it into a brand that is already trusted by 500 plus reviewers globally? How did you do that?
Yeah, a lot of hard work, a lot of sleepless nights, I'll tell you that honestly,
Yeah,
because when I first started making these product prototypes, we didn't really have like a manufacturer or anything like that. So I used to sit in my bedroom at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning after coming back from school and actually hand stitch like the different mask fabrics together and, actually layer out all the material. I used to use the 3D printers at school to make different casings for prototypes and things like that. So since then, we've come a long way. We were able to find very good, reputable manufacturers who are able to give us high quality products. That's probably the thing that's most important to us because affordability is a big aspect of what we stand for. Like if you compare our prices to any other company that sells something similar,
yeah,
you'll see a very big difference. So that's probably one of the biggest things that helped us is having a very solid quality product that we've been able to sell at a very reasonable price as well. And over the past 2, 3 years, I've put a lot of effort into helping us build that kind of social proof that really makes somebody trust a brand, right? Like when you look us up on Google, what are the different things that comes up? When you look me up on Google, what are the different things that come up from that, right? So all these different things have really, really played a huge role in helping us become a like a good brand, I would say. Like
yeah.
we're definitely not huge yet, but we're in the process of getting there now. And hopefully we can continue growing by doing different initiatives and helping out a lot more people.
Yeah, I mean, you trust is everything, and in particular in that field. All right, so obviously, trust is critical in what you're doing. You have to live your promise and deliver what you say you will. So you mentioned also that you're seeking mentors, and strategic partners that are committed to impacting the world just like you are. What qualities exactly do you seek in a mentor, and how can potential partners contribute to scaling Novarus's mission?
Yeah, that's a wonderful question. So, you know, in my time doing this, I've met a lot of different people who have taught me a lot of different things, whether it's about how to actually think about running a business or how to actually make yourself into a brand, or even more rudimentary things like how do you find good manufacturers and how do you design a product properly from a consumer perspective. So I think there's no like couple of qualities that I could really pinpoint into what exactly I look for in a mentor, but just somebody who's willing to listen to the different mistakes I've made without being too critical of them, I guess, because I've made a lot of mistakes, honestly, like so many already. And just somebody who can kind of help me understand where I went wrong and kind of how to correct it from there would probably be the most important thing for me, because anybody can tell me, oh, yeah, you need to figure out how to lower your operational costs and increase your revenue, right? Like that's not really helpful to me at the end of the day. I
Mhm.
want to know like what fundamental changes can I make to
Yeah,
really achieve that goal.
yeah,
In terms of strategic partners, there's so many different people that we've had the chance to work with, whether it's individuals, organizations, companies, anybody who kind of has like a similar mindset of wanting to help other people. I'm always very open to having like conversations with people and seeing and learning from them, what they've been able to do and kind of just come up with sometimes creative ways to approach things. So, for example, I have a very good friend of mine who works kind of in the life insurance and kind of that industry, but they also have connections to people in different governments and things like that. So I just went to them being like, "Hey, do you think that this would be something that you could propose to your different government friends?" And they said, "Yes, absolutely." So we were kind of able to forge like a partnership there from like a different relationship that we had in the past.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what it is. I mean, when you have a network like that, you have to rely on people to help you out. You can't do
Hmm.
everything on your own. That's wonderful. Okay, so now I'm going to ask you a question. You said you've made lots of mistakes. Everybody does, and every entrepreneur has to make mistakes. We learn the best from our mistakes, right? So, what are the leadership lessons that you have learned, or anything that you have learned on guiding this mission driven startup from conceptual prototypes to real world deployments? What would be the biggest lesson that you could share here with us?
Oh, wow. Okay. Um, Biggest lesson I think is just don't be afraid to do it. Like, and there were a lot of times where I was just doubting myself, like, oh, will this work? Will this work? Will this work? And then I realized that, just thinking about will something work won't really accomplish anything, like until you actually put pen to paper and take
Yeah,
action with it. Like you'll never know if it'll work.
yeah.
So I think that was probably my biggest lesson is just don't be scared of trying new things and just go for it. Like I used to hate
Mhm.
getting in front of a camera too, and now here I am like having this kind of conversation with you. So I've had to expand outside my comfort zone a lot compared to what I used to do. And I think honestly that's been like the most important thing for me is just learning how to do that.
Yeah, well, you're right. I mean, everything can be scary. And you have to really overcome your fears and see the bigger
Mhm.
vision, the bigger mission. I think when you understand what it is you're doing, that probably must have been helpful to you when you realize the impact that you can have, right? It
Oh,
gives you a good
definitely.
reason to get over your fears, right?
Definitely. Definitely.
Yeah. So, what is your goal now? I mean, you're working at providing affordable access to clean air, water for as many people as possible. Are you first focusing on specific areas of the world? I mean, what's your vision and your mission here? How is it organized? I think that's the best question.
Sure. Yeah, that's a great question. So we don't really have any one particular like segment that we're going after to say. Wherever we see an opportunity arise, we'll definitely, take action like that. And like in Palestine, we were actually trying to work with quite a few groups there to help them build different desalination plants and get water filters into it so that, we could at least give people some type of relief with clean water. Unfortunately, that's been a very big challenge to do recently just because getting aid into Palestine has been incredibly difficult over the past year. But, things like that where we see an opportunity come up to help people, we'll definitely take that. But to answer your question, kind of my long-term vision is to eventually make a shift from consumer products to just focusing on infrastructure. So in my head, the kind of philosophy is that if you and I still need to rely on things like air purifiers and water filters, that means there's still fundamentally something wrong, right? That means we still have dirty air and we still don't have clean drinking water. So my goal is to ultimately get the world to a point where we can create all of the infrastructure to ensure everyone has access to things like clean air and clean water from the start, right? And with the
Mm.
push of a button, you should have filtered tap water just like that.
Yeah.
Like no needing to walk, 6 miles to get clean water from a river, or even then having to filter it, right? So my goal is to hopefully be where we can start focusing more and more on these bigger projects, whether it's desalination, renewables, agriculture technologies, things like that. And we can really make this shift away from having a reliance on,
Yeah.
single use products like that.
I get that. So, are you going to become a president or go into government somewhere in order to do that,
No,
Harshil?
no, no, definitely not.
How are you
I'm
going
not
to
cut
do
out for
that? I want to
politics.
know.
So actually, we've been talking with quite a few people on some of these infrastructure projects already. We have developed full concepts of like desalination plants and these modular renewable energy systems. And we have conversations going with the Indian government and the Filipino government right now to kind of see if we can, start a pilot project in some different areas. So thankfully, I've been lucky enough to meet a lot of good people who have connections to these different places, and they like me enough to introduce me to them. So they'll go and we'll present these different projects to these different people, help them create proposals, things like that, and then we can actually sit down with them and see how can we make this into a long-term initiative. So it's not really as so like I want to be the person who's making that decision, but at least talking to the people who make those decisions and really help them understand the benefits that they can have.
Oh yeah, no, that for sure. And knowing the right people is important. But I still see you as a head of state somewhere. I don't know. That's I am a visionary, and I can see a lot of things in the future. I can still see you somewhere. So let's see what happens. I'm going to follow you, Harshil, and see what you're doing in the next few years because I think we're going to hear from you a lot more.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Hopefully it goes well.
All right. So thank you so much. It was just wonderful to hear your story, what you're doing. So how can people help you out right now? I know you've said a lot of things. You're looking for mentors and partners and the right introduction. But what is the most urgent matter right now that you need covered, and how can people help you achieve that?
Honestly, I think the mentors and partners would probably be the best way forward from here because
Okay.
we're always looking for new opportunities. Like we have our own core competencies that we do on a day-to-day basis, whether
Yeah.
it's product development or marketing or whatever. But to really help us scale and make sure we can actually achieve our goal, I think those two are probably going to be the biggest things that we need.
Okay. So knowing that, what is the best way to get hold of you?
LinkedIn is great. I'm on that website way too much, way more than I should, but LinkedIn is great. Um, yeah, that
Okay,
would
so
be
people
really
can
great.
connect you on LinkedIn. I will put the link
Yes.
here in the description of this video. All right, and finally, what message would you like for aspiring founders that are balancing innovation, sustainability, social impact? Anything that you would like to leave us with and leave them with? What would that be?
Yeah, I think for that, it's just make sure you have a very good understanding of exactly what you're trying to solve because nowadays there's so much different information about what's true and what's not true and what people believe and what they don't believe in. So I think really try to separate yourself from all the noise and make sure you're fully understanding what you're trying to do and solve. Because if you understand the problem, that's like halfway to the solution already, right? If you can clearly spell out the problem statement. So I honestly think that and then just go for it. Like there's no need to think about it or wait around for anything. Just do it. There's
Yeah,
no
and
time like the present.
that's great advice. And a lot of people wait, they thinking, oh, it's not perfect yet, I'm not ready yet, always finding excuses. But the bottom line is if you wait for something to be perfect, you'll wait for the rest of your life because nothing is ever perfect, especially when you launch
Mhm.
something. And just like you mentioned, Harshal, you learn by making mistakes and you have to start somewhere. And this is how you
Absolutely.
improve. But the key is to never give up because I think 90% of people give up. At the first
Hmm.
roadblock, they give up because we think, I'm never going to be able to do that. And I think it's the key is to keep your vision and to don't listen, not listen to naysayers, to keep going and surround
Oh,
yourself with the right
absolutely.
people, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. Well, so thank you so very much for being here with us today on Leaders Uncapped. It's such an honor, really a real honor to have met you and to share your story here on LinkedIn. Thank you so much, Rasha.
Thank you, Catherine. It was a pleasure being here.
Yeah, everyone, please share this video. And Harshal is looking for mentors. He's looking for partners. You can be one of those, or maybe you know someone who can help Harshal work towards his mission with his company here. Because oh my God, look at this! If we can really, first of all, help people that do not have clean air or clean water with his products, that's the first stage. But then if you can introduce him to government entities or large corporations that have an impact and can completely solve the problem. Eventually, I know it could take decades, but we have to start somewhere. So if you have the right introductions to those critical infrastructure and to those executives, please introduce Harshal to them because we have to start somewhere, and it's only by helping each other out that we will be able to impact the world and to change things because it's all about change and taking an initiative. We cannot just stay isolated in our neck of the wood by ourselves thinking that everything is going to be solved by itself. It doesn't happen this way. So we need to take action. And I count on you to do just that, take action. We'll share this video on YouTube and LinkedIn and share with your network. That's the first thing you can do. It takes 5 minutes. All right. Thank you so much again. Thank you, Harshal. Remember to subscribe to the channel. We need you to help us out here. Keep doing what we're doing. That's important. So thank you for that. And we will see you
Yeah.
next time.